opinion. Yep, 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 yep. It's my opinion. Yep, 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 yep. It's my opinion. Okay. Yep, 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 yep. It's mine, but you don't have to like it. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Just My Opinion. Don't forget to subscribe, share, follow, like. Here, Brian with Greg Lorenzo, as usual. It's only the three of us today here in camera, but we have a topic, very interesting one about teachers. And one of the questions that always come to mind is like, oh, do you feel like teachers should get paid more? Do you think the school needs to do a better job with the teachers and all the curriculum and all that stuff? But we have a guest. We got a special guest that we have to call, and she been around school for a very long time. So we're gonna give her a call and let her explain to us a little bit of her experience with schools and everything. So sit up tight there. I think we all know somebody from schools too.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Hello.
Hello,
Yes,
how's it going?
it's going wonderful. How's it going with you?
Going great. Thank you for coming on. We appreciate you coming on and talking to us about this topic. I'm gonna hand it over to the host Brian, and he got a couple of questions for you if you don't mind asking them for us.
Absolutely.
How are you doing? Well, like Lorenzo say, I'm Brian. Um,
Hi, hi, Brian.
I'm I'm just gonna give you a secret name, just for the sake of not just calling you guys. I just gonna call you Anna.
Okay,
People, just you watching. That's not her real name, but just gonna give you Anna if that's okay with you.
that's fine.
Okay, good. Yeah, I don't want. Sometimes I want to say the name, so I don't want to say your actual name. But
Mm,
we have a topic today about schools and teachers, and I was doing a poll, like a question on the social media, and the question that I put there was like, do you guys think teachers should get paid more? And so far, everybody has agreed that yes. So why don't you talk to us a little bit about your experience in school? How long have you been in schools as a teacher? So I'm gonna hand it to you.
Okay, well, I'm a high school teacher, and this is my 30th year. And I truly, truly enjoy and love teaching young people, young minds. And I think teachers should always be paid more, 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 because uh, it's a big job and it carries and we wear many, many hats. And as I'm sure many jobs do, but I mean, it's uh, um, a passion that we teach uh, because we want to reach young people and develop so that they can give back to our communities. And so, I was telling Lorenzo, that it's so important that we have those teachers who are like 110% into, developing our community in those minds because that's the future, And
Yes.
all of us who were born in the 60s, we're getting ready to retire. So who are we being replaced with? And so as you think about the kind of people that are coming in to teach, think about the value that we leave and the experience and knowledge that we leave behind, and that stuff is being washed away. And so we wear the hats of teacher, mentor, employer, uh, uh, confidant, uh, many times parenting, transportation, problem solver. I mean, we just do so much. And what I do the job of like three people. And I'm sure, whenever I get ready to retire, that they'll replace me with three other people at a lower rate. And so you get what you pay for, number one. And, um, and so I just think that there's more that we can do.
For
I don't
teachers.
know what, but there's more that we should be able to do to ensure that our students have the quality of education that is needed. Because, for me, it's just sad that our history is being erased. I mean, there's nothing a whole lot of conversation going on, you know, on a day-to-day basis about all the contributions that Black people have made. But I know I'm going off in a whole nother subject. So why don't you just ask me a question?
Do you have a question for her?
Hey Anna, how you doing? This is Greg.
Hi, Greg.
Um, so what you're basically telling me, if you got paid $10 an hour for every job you do, you'd still be making $100 an hour.
Hmm.
You know, and I kind of agree with you. People don't understand that when you look at the cops, the doctors, the lawyers, president, every single one of them started off with a teacher. And I think when the politicians become politicians, they forgot how they got there. And that's why a lot of teachers are being overlooked. Especially in some of the urban communities, I think that they think that we in some of the urban communities, they think that we learn at a slower pace. So they give us like different curriculum than they give the kids in the white neighborhood. And that's what I believe. And I believe that's one of the setbacks for the kids that's in the urban neighborhoods, because of the fact they're not getting the same education and being taught at the same pace, because they believe that we, as Black people, we learn at a slower pace. Maybe it's because they believe that a lot of the Black communities with single parent homes or whatever. But I think that they are shortchanging some of the Black communities because of what they think, not because of what they've seen.
And a lot of it has to do with income and things like that. And you know, I think that we just keep waiting around for someone to come in and save us and pour the monies into our schools like they do in the suburbs, you know. But uh, we can't wait forever. And I tell my students all the time, you know, that your generation is the generation that's not going to have Social Security and pensions and things like that. And so, what can we do to prepare ourselves so that our whole, future is not, being erased, because my students are okay with making money at fast food and stuff like that, because they can work all the overtime in the world. But at what point do you say, hey, I need something greater, whether it's a career or your entrepreneurship or whatever it could be, And so we have to find a way to pour into our own communities, because that's when we really were more prosperous, when we did support, because Black people are consuming people, And so if we could use some of that money and pour it back into our schools and our children, then we could teach them the kind of things that they need to know to take it to the next generation and the next. And teachers are at the beginning and the end of all of that, because our first teacher is our parent, and our parents are teachers, and it just continues into the profession and the decades of it, And I just think about all the paperwork I have to do, uh, networking, meeting, all that kind of stuff. I need a personal secretary. I was telling Renzo, I said, if I could just teach, I'd love this forever. But I said, I have to be a secretary, a scheduler, a event planner, entrepreneur. I
A
have to
little
do it
bit of
all.
everything.
Yeah,
So
yeah, I get it. So I have I guess like a two-part question for you. Do you
mhm.
think that parents rely too much on teachers,
Oh,
or the
absolutely.
teachers rely too much on the parent?
I don't think we rely too much on the parent. I think that the parents definitely rely too much on the teachers, because I can say that a lot of my students, I see all of my ninth graders
Hmm.
when they first get in high school uh, at parent conferences and open houses and things like that. But by 10th, I might not see those parents again until it's time to get ready for graduation, because once they have the ball turning and, some system has been established, and they just let them go and do their thing, But it takes a village for real.
I agree with
And
that.
so,
I'm from the South, so it literally took a village to raise me. I can promise you that. Teachers, principals, whole lot of principals.
A little bit of everything.
A little, neighbors. It took a village to raise me.
yeah.
But it worked. So
Absolutely.
one other question. What's a teacher's, and you can be blunt, what's a teacher's expectation of a parent?
Well, for me, my expectation of a parent is someone who is parenting, you know, not, things. I always say that COVID did a few positive things outside of all of the catastrophe behind it and the tragedy, but, uh, it opened up the minds of young people and just people in general, uh, that, hey, we don't have to be chained to the building to earn a living. We can open up our minds and create and develop. And parents' job is to guide their children and to be uh, uh, right beside them to make sure that everything is being supported and governed accordingly so that kids can grow into the visions that they dream and voluntold sometime until they can find out because um, college is not the only way. It's so many um,
Mhm.
trades people can learn now and things like that. And teachers is making it happen on the academic side as well as the trade side. And so, I mean, our role is vital, and we're connected with industry to make sure that these young people are prepared to be the next workforce.
Yeah,
And so,
absolutely.
uh,
I
it's important.
I agree with you. Now, I'm a parent, and well,
Mhm.
we all here are parent. Um, I want to know if you had two things a parent can do at home to make teacher's job easier, what would those two things be?
Well, for me, because I teach business, I would love for parents to be more engaged, like come on in and teach the kids a skill, and share your experience so that they can see and learn and figure out firsthand, like what's going on, what's out there for me. I hear about it. We have field trips, but hey, this is my circle, my community, and it's happening here. Wow, I never would have thought this person was this, that, and the other. So I would love for parents to become more engaged right back in the classroom. I mean, there's so many people who have skills and talents and share that knowledge. Don't just keep it at home and that kind of thing. And the other thing would be for parents to just make sure that they pass their connections on, like come on in there, mentor the kid, teach them something. I mean, just take it to the next level. We have all these resources of things that we can make happen in our community, but we're too busy doing other things and it just kind of gets lost along the way unless you just happen to be in a special program or something like that. But parents are an integral part of everything.
Ma'am, I respect everything you're doing for the community, everything you're doing for the kids. Over 30 years, you've got thousands of kids out there that you've affected and you've touched, but there's nowhere in hell you could get me in a school. Nope. Nope.
And you know what? A lot of people say that when I tell them I'm a high school teacher, they
Mhm.
always say, "Oh, God bless you. I feel
Yes,
sorry for you. I could never do that." I love teaching high school.
ma'am.
I've taught in middle school, sub in elementary, but I love teaching high school because that's when they're at the end of phase one. And,
Mm,
it's our job to develop those minds, and send them in the right direction and
yes,
make sure they're prepared to do it. And so,
I agree with that, and I know, but you do agree with me that everything isn't for everyone.
oh, yeah.
Yeah,
You
and
gotta you gotta do what you love and love what you do
a-
because money is never enough.
absolutely because it COVID taught me one thing that I am a part time parent. Yep, I don't like my kids 24 hours a day. I'm gonna tell you no lie. Yeah, yeah, I agree that teachers should get paid more because when I was stuck home with those kids, let me tell you something. I realized that I was put on this
Drive you
planet
nuts.
to be a part-time parent. I love my kids unconditionally. I mean, there's nothing that I wouldn't do for those kids. But listen to
Except
me.
for let them stay home with you all day long. I got
When
you.
when they were home with me Oh my God. I was voting for teachers to get paid more. I couldn't wait to leave to go to work. I
And
mean,
you got to think about when you have teenagers at home all day
mm,
like that. They're eating up everything and
I've
Yeah.
doing other things.
you,
You know, I'm
Hey.
like,
you
wow.
I've been blessed, and I think us three have been blessed enough. We didn't have to worry about that. But I my wife was in charge of the after school program where the kids during COVID was coming to get meals,
Hmm.
and I seen her come home crying because they ran out of meals, and the kids, and she kept putting in her mind that some kid was going to bed hungry tonight, and she couldn't deal with it. Um, and so I am, I couldn't do it. It's not
Well,
in
that
me.
that brings up another point.
Mhm.
Talking about the role that teachers play. I mean, we have to, or we're put in a position where we can identify those people who need and how we can help and that kind of thing. And
Mhm.
so, like I said, our job extends far beyond the classroom. I mean, there's so many needs that young people have. I mean, things like you wouldn't believe,
Trust me,
and
I hear about them.
and it's because they trust and can confide in some teacher that those connections can be made and things like that. But when you said when you were talking about being home with the kids, I thought about
Ye-
when we were on this huge
Mm.
conference call with all the
Now that
parents and
was a
stuff.
challenge. That was a real
And
challenge.
I was
and the
mad as
parents,
hell. I was mad as
this
hell.
one parent got on here and said, "Y'all need to do something about these kids. I'm tired of these kids at home all day." And we were like, "You talking about your own kids?"
No, they were
Yeah,
driving
yeah,
me nuts
no,
because I
yeah,
was
yeah.
working at
I,
home too.
I'm telling
So
you,
it was driving me
I
crazy.
was so. This is what I had at home. I had the two kids at home, and then I had my wife at home working in the office, talking about school stuff, developing programs to make this homeschooling stuff better. And we own a tutoring center. So she was busy doing that. And then when she was done doing that, then it was back to school. I was so sick of school and so sick of my kids. I'm telling you, I am one of the first advocates to say teachers do not get paid enough. And not only that, I think it sucks for teachers to have to pay for their own insurance too. I really do.
That's crazy.
Yep.
I mean, I hate. I know you. I mean, teachers have Mimic, and Mimic has been good. Have a good. I mean, one of the best insurance in the state of Michigan, but you have to pay for it, and I think certain jobs should come with free insurance.
I agree.
I just believe so.
I
If
agree.
you're a
Yes,
cop
and,
putting
and I
yourself,
feel that same way about student loans and things like that. I'm like, um, we are the first persons that they should have said, "Hey, thank you for your service. We'll take care of this,"
absolutely,
And
absolutely, I
100%.
agree with that
We
100%.
paid enough taxes to cover that.
Yeah, yeah,
Enough, like more than enough taxes we paid as a state to just cover that.
yeah, yeah,
When I
absolutely.
see my paycheck and they take away those many taxes, I'm like, so why the hell? Where is the money going?
yeah.
Like,
I'll take another pothole in the street of Michigan to take care of insurance for a teacher. I really would. It's just because of the fact if you're not healthy, who's teaching our kids? Unhealthy teachers? I mean,
Hmm.
you brought up a point about when you retire, who replaces you? People aren't even going into teaching anymore because of the pay. A lot of
Absolutely.
yeah.
lot of people I know who went through our tutoring center to become teachers have now dropped out of the teaching program to go somewhere else because of the pay. It's ridiculous. Now the people who become teachers, are they really teaching because they love it, or they're teaching because of a necessity? And if they're teaching because of a necessity, we're going to get a lot of bad teachers.
Well, if you think about it, the average salary for teachers today is between 55,000 to 57,000. That's not enough.
Mm-mm.
With how
No,
expensive
that's not
things
enough.
are these days, that's not enough.
I get it. I get it. Like I said, I my wife just happened to. She's no longer a teacher. She's in the admin office. So she sees and hear a lot of things. But the thought of teachers, I just believe if you come out of college and you your degree to become a teacher. I think your loans should be forgiven. Once you're hired and you stayed at a job over 4 years, I think your loans should be forgiven. I don't think your loan should be forgiven if you come out, go to college, get a job for 6 months and then quit, and then your loans are forgiven. I think once you put in, and I think it's called tenure. Is that what it's called?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Once you're tenured, I think you should your loan should be forgiven.
No, that makes sense.
Yeah, I think once you're tenured, I think your insurance should be free. Your first 4
And I do,
years, you pay for it.
I do want to say that not only am I a teacher, but I am a legacy. My grandmother, my mother, and I am a teacher.
So it went from generation to generation.
God help you,
Yeah, she has
Lord
absolute
Jesus.
legend.
I feel
Hey,
bad,
my grandmother was my teacher.
but I feel bad. I feel bad. My grandmother was the janitor in my school, and I thought that was the sickest thing in the world. I thought I got sick going to school. I go down the hallway and I see my grandmother. I don't want to see her in school. I don't want to see her in
At
school.
least you know one person on the staff got your back though.
My mom,
Yes, it
my
is.
mom,
Mhm.
2 miles away. She was the dietitian at another school. I hated that. She was too close to my school.
Yeah, well, that was all in your mind. It's just such an honor, and I've had many students who their parents were teachers in the school, and
They hated it.
they
Don't
do
try.
they
No,
do.
no, they hated it. There's not one of them. They could say now that they're an adult. Now that they're an adult, they were like, "Oh my God, my mom was my teacher in my school, and they liked it." They hated it as a kid.
I
They
used to have
hated it.
I used to have an aunt that used to be a teacher, and I had to go through a whole year with her taking Spanish class.
Mm.
Yeah, like now it's like, dang, you remember this? Like, bro, I didn't love it. Back then, I hated it. I didn't love it. I was like, oh, here we go. Oh God.
What
But
makes sense if you're
why?
a kid though?
But why? Was it
Well, it's not.
because they were holding you to a certain standard?
Yes,
Yeah, because it's like, okay, now like.
absolutely. That's what it was.
But it also it's like everything. If I do anything stupid, she's gonna call her mom or dad or whatever and say like make it bigger or
that's-
whatever the hell or
That's holding you to a higher standard.
yeah. It's like oh
Yeah.
Jesus,
Yeah,
like,
but you know
God.
what? Those teachable moments that came from those teachers' parents and things like that, those are lifelong lessons that stay with you forever.
Yeah, but you
forever.
don't appreciate them until you're an adult. You don't
Yeah, so when you're
appreciate
talking
when
about
you're
the
in school.
impact of a teacher and that kind of thing, and trying to put a value financially on it, I mean, it's like, why is this like such a big deal
Yeah.
for the people to figure out that the time has long been gone that we should have been paid more,
Yes,
Uh,
I agree with that. I mean, it's just sad that you've been in the school business, teaching business, the tutoring business, the raising business, the nurturing business for all this long for 30 years. 30
Mhm.
years and you can still have this opinion about school systems and the pay that teachers are getting it, and obviously you're not going to be a teacher for the next 30 years. So
I know.
so what I'm saying is you have this kind of passion about what you're leaving behind and what's coming forward, because these young kids coming behind you, they're going to need a voice. They're going to need a voice. And a lot of the young ones coming out of college, they're terrified to stand up for themselves.
Yeah.
They're terrified. And they're going to need voices from people who've experienced it. And I'm just letting you know it's a pleasure for me to be on the phone with you, and saying that you're one of the advocates for the young people coming in and letting them know the pleasure you've had from teaching, and they should come and give it a try. Because
Absolutely.
yes,
Come on.
yes.
And definitely bring the brothers too, because I mean, we need those men in there as well.
No, you don't. No,
You don't think so?
no.
I think so.
Listen
Oh,
to
we
me.
What about
definitely-
the kids that don't have dad?
We don't.
Like,
Yeah. You're right. You're right. A lot of think about it. A lot of the men aren't becoming teachers anymore. Like when we were growing up,
Yeah.
half our staff were men. You know,
Yeah,
right.
it used to be a lot more.
and they realized, they told their kids, you don't want to be a teacher. I'm telling you, dads back in the day are telling their kids, you don't want to be a teacher. And think about it. A lot of sons want to be like their dad. So if there were tons of teachers back then being dads, what do you think those dads are telling their son?
You don't make enough money
Well,
here.
my father was a professor, and
hmm
he definitely supported teaching.
He did. He did.
He did.
How many brothers do you have?
One.
Huh?
One.
What is he?
He's a business owner.
Ding, ding, ding. He's not a teacher, is he?
He's not,
No,
but
and
I am.
Yes. He supported his daughter being a teacher, but he told his son, "You don't want this job. You're gonna
He
hit
did
somebody."
not. He did not. He did not.
Right.
Everybody had to find their way. I mean, one thing you cannot do. I mean, you can impact on students and children's thoughts and decisions and their career paths.
Yep.
That final decision is theirs.
It is.
And
But
so that's why I said the teacher's role is so important, to expose them to different things so that they'll be open to learning. I mean, you don't just have to be a doctor, lawyer, engineer. It's so many things out there. And you can do that even as a teacher. You can teach medicine and
but
engineering and all that kind of stuff.
yeah,
It
but
starts
but
and ends with the teacher,
what
you
you're
know.
missing is the fact that the way we were raised back in the day, we didn't spare the rod, spoil a child. And the bottom line is to it, the generations of men that were coming after my teachers, they wanted to teach the class the way their dad taught classes, and they can't do that anymore. And then later on, my generation and my
Well, I
kids'
don't feel
generation,
that way.
you
I think that it depends on what system you're in,
Mhm.
because most schools are pretty flexible with the men. We're pretty happy to see men who are vested in teaching, you know, and so
Yes,
we want
but
to embrace that, not shut them down, you know.
so after
Definitely.
30 years into the business, I consider you an expert. That's what I consider you. So why do you think there's a big, not just a small, like a huge decline in male teachers? Why do you think?
Well, like you said, a lot of it has to do with finances, of course, but that's with any profession. You have to do what you love and love what you do. And so if you can afford to do what you love and love
hmm
what you do, that's a lot different, you know. But if you are trying to provide for a family of five and that kind of thing, yeah, some hard decisions has to be made. The last initiative that I heard of that was a big push for male teachers when Mary Grove was still in business,
hmm
and that's what I was
it,
thinking. Like if I'm because we still living in a pretty traditional world still, like where the man is expected to support the family and carry on, right?
hmm
When they're building a
hmm
family. If you present to me as a young person, hey, like I got these jobs, and you put me the salaries on it right now, I will still take over my current job, which is I deal with mortgages currently because
hmm
I get paid more,
Yeah.
way more than being a teacher. Even
hmm
though I love teaching, I wouldn't go teaching because it's not gonna help me support my family. It's like, okay, this is not gonna provide for me like enough money to be able to live in this type of world because we're living in, I feel like while we were living, we got stuck in the past in terms of like how we gonna pay the teachers. They just keep paying the teacher the same thing while everything keep going up. So the men were
hmm
realizing that, and it's like, oh,
I
this is not the profession for
I
me.
have another theory. I think men start having kids and they realize they love their kids, but they don't like them and they don't want to deal with anybody else's kids.
I think that's your personal feeling. You really do.
Hey,
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 you gotta
listen
let
to me.
that go. You gotta
If
let
you
that
So
go.
listen,
if
we
you
can't advocate for better pay until we make you a believer first.
listen, you can't. I'm telling you, I'm a believer. I'm a believer that you guys should get
be
paid
on
more because you're dealing with things that I don't want to deal with. I am telling you, I have
I
realized.
think you should be on like a 2-week lockdown without your wife, with nothing but you and your kids. That's what
Hell
I think.
no, nope,
I
Uh,
nope.
think that
a
would
Listen,
self
change a
reflection
whole
time
listen.
for you, Greg.
My wife leaves town a lot for for the schools and stuff like that for 4 or 5 days, and I had them for like 4 days one time. Ooh, baby,
Felt long.
baby.
And how many home cooked meals or did y'all order out every day? And did you check their homework, or did you just say, "Yeah, do y'all have any
She
homework?"
don't know
Okay,
me. She
good.
don't know me. She don't know me, does she? Listen, no takeout meals in my house. I cook every day, even when my wife is home. I am the cook.
Okay.
Now, when it comes to checking the homework, I say to my kids, you're 14 and 13 years old. You have any homework?
See, now
They
that's
say
a
yes or
misconception,
no.
because if they're 14 and 13, it's easy to get lost, because that is their most critical time, because they're exposed to so much and so many decisions that they can independently make at that time, that's when kids need you the most, is in that
Ab-
ninth grade year,
Absolutely.
man.
Now listen to me.
Which bring me another question.
I did tell you that I love my kids unconditionally. I just don't
So
like
long as you
them.
don't have to be bothered with them. You
No,
sound like a man.
hey, ask these two. I'm with my kids. I get to the point where they go out of town for a couple of them, and them 2 days, I love it. That third day, my wife know my kids better be on their way back home, because I can't take it. I love hearing the bickering and something like that. It just gets overwhelming sometimes. But my kids, if they come in the house and they have a B plus, you know what they do automatically? I don't have to say a word. They check their electronics in. And they don't go back and get their electronics until they B plus become an A. Now, I'm not saying my kids have to be an A student, but my kids have to prove to me that they're not capable of getting an A in that class. And you can't prove it to me when you're spending, 10 hours, 15 hours on the phone or on a computer. Now, if you take away that, and then my A don't come back, but every single time that they check their electronics in, it seems that A reappears.
So, according to you, you're saying that men are not attracted to teaching because it's not paying enough for them to provide for their home. But you're saying you're this great dad. So, uh, why can't you extend that great dadness into your community
Nope,
schools?
don't like your
And
kids that much. I just don't.
well,
Nope.
if
Look,
not
look,
you, then who?
Coach
If not
saying that,
now, then
Coach
when?
saying that,
You
but he
know,
ain't
like,
tell you that he's a coach,
I,
and he deal with kids every day,
every day.
every
I
day,
deal with kids
He
every
gotta
day.
teach them
and
anyway.
about 90% of them in here ain't.
Listen, I do. I work with kids a lot. I had one came in there crying the other day, man. He cried for like an hour. And I finally just told his mom, do you trust me? She said, yes. I said, then you have to leave the building. She left the building. And I let him know that, hey, buddy, until you get it done, he said he hate this place. He think this place is stupid. And then he told me that he thought he would be able to come in here and do what he wanted to do because he doesn't like listening to people. I said, that's why your mom have you here. And she's a single mom. And I said, listen, so I went locked both doors. And I said, so now you can't even get out. And I said, now, and your mom can't get in. And he cried. He screamed like, eh. And I told everybody in the gym, do the same thing. So everyone in the gym screamed the same time he did. I said, see, we're all capable of making those irritating sounds. We're all capable, but we choose not to. So he did it again. And everybody in the gym did the same thing. By the time we were done, he was jumping on the trampoline and came and gave me a big hug. And now I couldn't get him to leave the building. This was just last week. This was just last week.
awesome.
Yeah. He didn't want to leave the building. His mom had to like force him, like, we have to go. And then he came back and couldn't wait to be back. And then he apologized to me about the way he acted 2 days ago.
Yeah, because he realized
See,
that
and
he
this is what
learned.
I'm talking about, the impact of the community. Uh, you're with your team, which is wonderful, but imagine in the classroom where their mind and body is already trained to learn. They set to go.
Yes.
Just imagine if you came in there and imparted that same kind of knowledge and discipline on those kids.
No, ma'am.
You and so many others. I mean, well, then that means you get to pick and choose, and we have to fight the good fight.
See, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. And here, in my gym, I am the boss. I can't be fired. You don't like the rules in here, then go somewhere else. But it seems like the kids end up embracing the rules. They kind, in the end, they like the discipline. I had one of my students, his teacher called me. His guidance counselor called me last week and asked, can I help? And I was like, absolutely, I can. He's a very smart student, but he's slipping in his ELA grade. And she talk to him and ask him what was his passion. He said boxing. So she got permission from his mother to call me. And the counselor called me and I said, I have your back. I said, because guess what? I have his mom's support. If he's not getting it in, let me know. And he'll be in the back doing his homework while everyone else is training. He said, Coach, you'd make me do that? I said, try me.
Now
Yeah.
that brings me to another question. I know we're almost done with this, but I want to ask this question though. You have been teaching for 30 years, meaning that there has been many different generations of kids passing through your hands.
Absolutely.
How much difficult has it become, or how much easier has it become from 30 years ago? Like, is it easier or is it more difficult these days?
Mm.
For me as a teacher or for
Yeah,
the
for you as
students?
a teacher.
I wouldn't say that it's become more difficult. It's become more demanding, you know? Like I said, there's so many mandates of things that we have to do that we're being bombarded. Like I said, if I could have a administrative assistant and then I could be a teacher, but
Mm.
because I have to do so much, I wear so many hats, it's overwhelming, it really is. And I am in it because of my passion of it. And I am concerned, like I said, because hey, I'm one of the baby boomers, so my time will come soon. And when it does, then who will replace me? And what will happen, like I said, where's our Black history
But
going?
I need to ask this then, because if you're bombarded with a bunch of administrative things, when did we expect you to be a teacher?
After school, before school, during school, uh, just
So
all the
they're asking
time.
you to multitask pretty much.
Move the what?
Multitask.
Oh, listen.
Don't worry about it. We
That's
can't
a
understand him
easy
half of the
word.
time either. We can't
That's why I
understand.
got two people here on my
We
side.
can't understand him half of the time either. We have to say, Brian, slow it down, because we don't know what you said.
When you say multitask, that sounds so easy and gentle, but
Yes.
baby, listen,
You
it's like
multitask.
20,000
In my
hats
mind, it
going on.
sounded nice.
Yes, it was nice,
Okay.
all right, but
Now,
listen,
Got you.
I have
you
to
almost
ask.
got
Now, this is the
jumped,
one
brother.
question I need to ask before you retire.
Yes. No, before I leave this call, like hurry.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I was saying. That's what I meant. Retire from this call conversation.
Okay.
What do you think about Black History Month? That's one. And then what do you think about homeschooling? That's two. So what do you think about the Black History Month? Because I have an opinion on it, and my opinion is kind of rough. It's more of the Morgan Freeman type thought. But what do you think about Black History Month?
Well, I think that nowadays people have so many connections and we are very diverse in what we do that I don't think we should be confined to a month.
Shut the hell. That's my girl. That's my girl. That's what I'm going. Keep going, girl. Keep talking.
And I think that I just think that like at the beginning, like, oh my God, just to watch the news is just oh my God, it gives me a headache.
I can't
And I
do it.
just think that like at the beginning of the news, why not? At the beginning and even at the end, why not just do a little blurb Black history or a story or something on our history all the time? I mean, we've made so many contributions and we're just met with so much mess all the time. And I'm just like, this is not how it is in the Black community, and if we don't educate our children, then what they see in the media and experience on the streets is what becomes their reality,
And their history.
and their history and ours too, whether we want
Yes.
it or not. And so I'm concerned, like I said, I'm very, very concerned because like who's gonna pick up the torch,
I think for every Black person in America who accepts February as a Black History Month, we are also saying, hey, white America, the other 11 months are yours.
Well,
Yeah,
here,
like
look,
split
here's
it
a
up however you
picture
want.
right here. Black History is the shortest month, and
Yes.
we have winter break in February.
Mhm. Yeah.
So that shortens it
You
even more,
you get it?
so how insulting is that, But
It's
I mean, hey,
and you know
that's the
the
world we
thing
live in.
is because of the fact that I would say this in a crowded room or a crowded place in Hart Plaza. I would say that guess what? They don't teach enough Black history because there's not enough white teachers that know anything about it because they weren't forced to learn it. They don't care to learn it. They know not very much about it. And
Listen,
for when we
I've been in schools where African American history is taught by white teachers,
talk,
So,
yeah, which
try that on
most of the kids in the school in the classroom knows more than the white teacher.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, and that's sad that
Some,
yeah, yeah,
it just depends on if they have a grandma, because
yeah.
like I said, hey, it's not being transferred,
It's
It's
sure
just
not.
not.
And if I'm going to be taught Black history, I want to be taught Black history by someone that looks like me.
Right.
That's just me. I'm not saying that there's not some white people out there that know Black history. But what I'm saying, if I'm listening to you, I'd rather be listening to someone that looks like me,
No, I make a lot of
not someone who's an
connection there.
advocate for me. I want you to live. I want you to have lived it, to know exactly what you talk about because you're coming from a feeling place, not from a learning place.
Mhm.
And that's just me. So
Well, you guys, it's been so wonderful talking to you, but I am going to let you go. I've
okay.
enjoyed myself. Thank you
Can
so
you
much
can
for considering
can you
me
give
and
me a
thinking
little
of
bit
me.
what you think about the homeschooling? Just
I
30
think
seconds.
I think homeschool is a wonderful thing, but I think that it does not touch on the social skills that children need to develop.
That's what I wanted to hear. That's exactly what I wanted to hear.
We agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah. Miss Ann,
We
I am
appreciate your
Greg. We
time.
really appreciate you, man.
Appreciate
You
your
opened a
input.
lot of doors that we can talk about later on. And I hope this is not a one and done deal, that we can actually call you again one day when we get some other teachers on and we can rebut some of the things you say that don't agree with you. Because remember, at this show is just called Just Our Opinion.
That's right.
Thank you.
Well, you enjoy the rest of your day, okay? Thank you for
All
joining
right.
us.
Thank you, you
Thank you,
guys.
thank you. You gave us more time than we needed, but we appreciate it.
And you did a
We
great
do,
job
we
with
do.
Lorenzo. You did a very good job with Lorenzo.
You did,
Yes.
you did.
Yes, I did. He's a superstar.
Thank you,
For
ma'am.
life.
Appreciate
Okay,
you.
bye-bye.
So yeah, the whole like
Wow.
the homeschooling part of it, I think that's like a disadvantage though, because then you don't get like, for example, like if I'm gonna teach my kids something about the history, yeah, before we close it out, if I'm gonna teach something about history for my kids, about Black history, for example, we already use it, so I don't,
You weren't
I
raised
know
Black.
the history, but I wasn't raised. Yeah, I
Yeah.
wasn't. I don't know those experiences. Like
And
I will just go ahead for whatever the hell I'm reading on a book and go and say it.
And you can listen, man. I rolled on a bus. We were the first Black family to move in our neighborhood. Bro, we were called some of the worst names ever. No one wanted to sit on a school bus beside us. We were called nigger, coon. We were called some of the worst names ever. So I lived that moment. You did not live that moment. You did not live that moment. But when I'm telling you that, it's not coming from a place like I looked in a book and read it.
Right.
It's coming from a place of feeling, not a place of learning. If you hear, you're like, Greg, man, I lived in a world where you lived in an era where crack just got crazy in the 80s, 90s, when crack was going crazy. I can't live that. You can tell me that place from a feeling, not from reading a book.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? I didn't know anything about it because crack wasn't down south at that time. So I want to be taught by someone, like a person who comes in here who's overweight. They can be taught by me and you, because all three of us were extremely overweight at one time.
Yeah.
So we lived it.
Right.
We lived it so we can teach it. And not only that, I can promise you, people listen to you, me, much more when it comes to losing weight because they know we've lived it.
No, I agree.
Opposed to a person who's skinny
we
their whole
experienced
life, and they're telling them how to do it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so that's my thing about the racism and Black History Month, man. Black History Month is not a month for me. We live Black history our whole fucking life.
And the
whole
whole
life.
year,
So-
every year,
so
whole year,
Bluntly speaking,
year.
for all of white America, who thinks February is a good thing, Black History Month, fuck you. Straight fuck you.
By the way, don't include just because I look a little white. Don't include me in the white.
Yeah,
I ain't white.
no, and I'm not including all whites. I'm not including.
know.
I'm not including
It's a
all
select-
whites.
it's a
Yeah,
select
I'm
group.
making clear.
That's
I'm
all.
making
They-
clear.
they already
And
know,
hey,
man.
hey,
It's all
I
okay.
got
Just
one
making
better
sure,
for
you
you.
know?
I got one better for you. And for Black folks who wait till February get in, and say, it's Black History Month. This is Black History Month. Fuck you too, because you're
Dude, I
too
see that a
ignorant.
lot at
You
work.
too
I was like,
ignorant to know exactly what the racist white people of the world are doing to you. They're saying to you, accept this month, because the rest of the month is ours.
Yeah.
The rest of the month is ours. And if you accept it, then they should keep feeding your dumb ass.
Because we settled for too much. What's the other
Yes.
shit that they just gave us? The Juneteenth shit?
Yeah, Juneteenth.
Juneteenth.
Oh,
Yeah,
Lord.
Bro, come on.
I have no problem with them recognizing Juneteenth, that it actually happened. That I have no problem with that.
No, I agree.
But-
But, out of all the things,
but-
like you just
but-
like, all right, that's it. We
Mhm.
But how long
That's
did it
it.
took for them to recognize it?
Juneteenth. You want to do something for Black people? Give them back their shit you took.
Mm-hmm.
Give them back the shit you stole. Do what Clinton did for Rosewood. They gave them the shit back. 1992, Bill Clinton gave back the surviving members of Rosewood. And I think it was only 4 members at that time. The surviving members of Rosewood gave them all of the land back. So the people who built shit all on Rosewood, you seen the movie?
Mm-hmm.
So you know they came in and took their land, took everything. Now in 1992, Bill Clinton gave it all back to them. 4 people, 4 survivors. And if you want to tell me you're sorry about shit that happened back then, give them back their shit.
I don't know. I feel like
Find the
I
family.
feel like the higher ups might be afraid of that because the list might get deep.
Look what's happening right now in the South.
That's a lot to give back, and I don't know. I feel
Look
like
what's
they're afraid of that
happening.
shit.
Look what's happening right now in the South, in Hilton Head, South Carolina, Beaufort area. Black people have owned and was on that land for 100 years. And now they're trying to take their land from it to develop it.
Mm.
Developing their land because all these old people couldn't read and write back then. So their paperwork got all, they know they can't find paperwork on their ownership of land. So now they're trying to come in and take the land from them. So sad. Lady's been living, she's 100 years old and they're trying to take her land. Where's she going to move? Where's she going to go?
They're gonna try to send her to a home.
Yeah,
Pay for it.
where's she going to go?
Something,
Yes,
something
yes.
stupid.
So
We'll take care of you.
So don't tell me
It's crazy.
all of the things we've done, all the things we've created, all the things we've gone through to become proud Black Americans. Don't call me fucking African American either. I am a Black American. I'm just as American as everyone else here.
You were born here,
I
right?
was born here, and my family is so far removed from Africa. I'm not African American. I'm a Black American, and I'm proud to be Black. I'm a true patriot. I am just as patriotic as any white person out there, any other race out there. So don't call me fucking African or anything. I'm not African.
That's like
anything.
me calling the Black Puerto Rican. It's like,
Yeah.
the African Rican from Puerto Rico.
Yeah. What is
It
that?
doesn't even sound right.
Right.
I know. They ain't fucking born in
African
Puerto
region.
Rico. Why we bring it up? Like
That's
Africa?
my point. So what I'm trying to tell you is, in my world, and it's just my opinion, that of all of the accomplishments that we have faced and gone through, and you have the nerve to try to make us feel proud about the shortest fucking month of the year.
Mm-hmm. That you don't have to participate.
You
in.
politicians,
And the problem is
You-
the people accept it.
yes, you politicians
That's
and
the
all
problem.
of you, white Americans, Black Americans, and everybody else who accept that, then you're fucking idiots. Black people, you're fucking idiots for accepting it. White folks, you're fucking idiots for thinking we accept it. I don't like it. I don't agree with it because January is my fucking month. February is my fucking month. Guess what else? So is the other fucking 10 months of the year. And there ain't a damn thing you can do about it. Yep. And
that's another topic.
Yeah,
though. That's another
I
topic.
want you to know that.
Because we do got that.
That
There's a lot of things that we can talk about that. And the thing with the like why are we always calling black people African American when they were fucking born here?
Yeah.
Why?
Now, don't get me wrong. I am not banishing. I am not pushing away my African roots. I am not doing that.
History.
I am recognizing the fact that where
were not
people
born
come
there.
from. And I tell you what, people talking about slavery and this and all of that stuff and all this, and people went over there and brought us over here. I thank you. I don't want to be living over there. I'm just saying, I thank you. I'm glad I'm here.
There you go.
You know, and I also appreciate everything our ancestors went through for us to be here. Because fresh off of that boat, they were brutalized. They were humiliated. They were raped. They were beaten. They were doing all that. And they went through it. So we can have the life we have right now. And for all you drug dealers, and for all you guys who go out there and kill, shoot, steal, rob, all of the things you're doing, you're slapping all of our ancestors in the face who went through hell for us to have the life we have. So, yep, drug dealers, you can go to hell too.
No, you got a valid
You
point.
see?
And it's also something you need to look at. It's something that you could be proud of in regards to those are people that you consider warrior people that's from your tribe. It was a few, and then it was a lot less than what it was. Like maybe like one, maybe out of every like 100 people that was on that boat, maybe 5 made it. Them had to be some of the toughest people to be resilient and stick through that.
Yes.
So if they can get through that, everything you feel like you're going through in the land of opportunity, America, the shit that you go through, you can survive that shit. If they can survive that, you need to lean on that strength and say, all right, if they can get through that shit, I can get through this. This is nothing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And don't let anyone take that away from you. Don't let anyone make you feel guilty for being black. Don't let anybody make you feel guilty for appreciating your ancestors. Don't let anyone make you feel guilty for being proud to be a black American, because all of those people who died, fought, sweat, picked cotton, got beatings and stuff like that, they did it so you can be called a proud black American. They did not do that, leave their homeland for you to be called African American. They didn't want you to forget it. They don't want you to forget it. But what they do want you to do is make sure you are recognized as a black person in America. If they didn't like it, then they should have left us where we were. I'm glad you didn't. But I had to throw that glad you didn't part in there, because I love my American life. And if you don't like America, you know what I say? Go back to where the fuck you came from. If you don't like it, I'm from here. The land of the free and the home of the brave.
I am too.
I ain't the bravest motherfucker, but I'm free.
But I'm free. You know something else before we close it out. You know something else that I think people forget about too is that they also went through all that just for black people to be better. Be better. Like be better. Don't dwell on the past. Learn from it. Appreciate the history. Get the value. Give the value by living a better life. I think that's one way to like make your ancestors proud. So, but with that, I think we all agree that teachers should be getting paid more. So, don't forget, we got a new Instagram page _JMO podcast _ follow us over there, subscribe on YouTube, follow, share, like. Greg, Brian, Lorenzo, thank you for tuning in, people, and see you on the next one.
Peace.